Good morning and welcome to Lextran's Title VI update. My name is Fred Combs. I'm the Director of Planning, Technology, and Community Relations here at Lextran. I'm joined by Catherine Moran, our Compliance Specialist. Also Emily Elliott, our Community Relations Manager, and Whitney Wigglesworth, our Marketing and Communications Coordinator, will be joining us shortly. If you'd like to make a comment this morning, we are actively monitoring our email at info@lextran.com and our Facebook page. Feel free to get your comments or questions in there. We will answer them at the end of the program. We have a short presentation this morning, then we'll jump into questions and answers after that. So I'll turn it over to Emily.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. This morning we are going to go over our Title VI Program Plan Update for 2022. We like to go ahead and start all of our meetings with our mission statement, which is we serve people and our community with mobility solutions. Here's just some brief information about what we're going to go over. The purpose of today's meeting is for us to get feedback and hear what the public has to say regarding our Title VI policies to ensure fair and equitable transit service and amenities for our community. So today we're going to talk about just a brief introduction of Title VI, our Title VI approval process, so that's the process that we go through as an agency and our timelines. The public notification and complaint procedures, our public participation plan, a bit about service and fare change policies, the limited English proficiency or LEP, which you'll hear me say many times, plan, as well as our service standards and policies. And so as we move through all of these things, these are all governed by our Title VI document. So even if we don't sort of refer back every time, and this as part of our Title VI, all of these items are in the document, which is currently available on our website. So just a brief introduction about what is Title VI. So Title VI is part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and what it does is provide our requirements and guidance from the FTA as a funding recipient. This information is located in the Title VI Circular 4702.1b. So essentially it's the intent for transit agencies to provide mobility in a non-discriminatory manner. So we'll just read this. No person in the United States shall on the ground of race, color, or national origin be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal assistance. So that's what Title VI tells us to do, non-discriminatory service, and how we ensure that with all of these policies. So for Lextran's Title VI approval process, our public comment period opened on the 25th, August 25th, which was the same day that this was publicly announced. Today, September 13th, we are doing a public input session. So if you're joining us on YouTube and you would like to participate, we will have another session on September 13th at 3 p.m. at Central Library in Room B. And we will continue to actively receive public comments through the remainder of the week. They will close at 6 p.m. this Friday, September 16th. I'll provide more information a little later on regarding our public participation plan and how to provide comments. So after September 16th through September 23rd, we will review all of the feedback that we've gotten and do any policy revision that may be needed. On September 28th, which is a Wednesday, our Title VI program plan will be submitted for approval by our Lextran Board of Directors at our board meeting. And then the final official Title VI program plan with all its approvals will be submitted to the FTA. So we mentioned that Lextran is required, the Title VI governs our requirements for non-discriminatory service, and we are required to notify the public of their rights under Title VI. So make sure that the public knows that they have the right to not be discriminated against. So we have notifications regarding those rights posted at our transit center. They are on board all of our vehicles, all of our buses. They're on our website, and they are posted at the front desk of our Loudon Administrative Office. All of these notifications are also translated into both Spanish and Mandarin, and then any other language that anyone may need is available upon request, and there is a period for that document to be translated, but we're more than happy to do that for someone. There is also a complaint procedure involved if someone feels that they have been discriminated against. So anyone who believes that they have experienced discrimination in Lextran service under Title VI may file a Title VI complaint. Complainants have 180 days from the date of the incident to file that complaint. And then the procedures of exactly how to do that and the various places that complaint may be submitted are available on our website. So as part of Title VI, we have it governs our public participation plan. So we encourage public participation. We welcome all comments. We love hearing from people about our service and about the changes that we intend to make. We do our outreach. We do involvement activities, seeking input from everyone, including minorities, anyone who's low income, anyone who is a person with disabilities, limited English proficiency populations. We love to hear from everybody. And this is going to include any change in service or fares, whether that be a permanent change, a temporary change. Those are all communicated to the public. So our notification for our public meetings, such as today, are posted on our website and social media channels. And those are always provided to the community no less than 2 weeks before public meetings. So when you look sort of back at those dates that we were talking about, we always make sure that we announce it and we start providing that information to the community no less than 2 weeks before we host those in-person public meetings for people. So I mentioned earlier some of the ways to receive feedback. You can attend one of our board meetings and provide feedback there. You can attend any of our public meetings as well. We have comment cards available at the customer service window at the Transit Center, and those are available in English, Spanish, and Mandarin. Comments can be submitted via our website feedback page. You can email us directly at info@lextran.com, or you can leave us a dedicated voicemail. This message line is just for public comments at 859-244-2039. And I want to mention that there will not be a person who answers that line. It is just for messages related to public feedback. The other way to reach out to us with feedback is to just comment on one of our social media channels. So that would be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those. We're more than happy to receive feedback and interact with folks. So service changes are evaluated for disparate impact and disproportionate burden before being proposed to the public. Public meetings are required when the changes meet the major service change threshold. And a major service change is a proposed change to a fixed route service that increases or decreases either the revenue miles or hours by 25%. We typically like to get feedback on minor changes as well from the public, but this is when we would, when a service change meets that threshold, that's when the disparate impact and disproportionate burden is going to kick in and we are required to have a public meeting. So disparate impact is essentially anything that disproportionately affects members of a group identified by race, color, or national origin, and a disproportionate burden is going to disproportionately impact a low-income population more than a non-low-income population. So in part of that, there's a lot of data collection, there's a lot of demographic information that we use, and so either one of these, the disparate impact or disproportionate burden, is going to occur when the major service change affects the minority or low-income population to a greater extent than a non-minority or non-low-income population. And you can see this might be an example of a map that we would use. So the orange is our route outlines overlaid over these census block groups. And so we calculate the average minority or low-income population in Fayette County, and then we identify the census block groups that are above average, and we look at those routes to see if any changes, how those block groups may be impacted by changes. So we're constantly monitoring demographic changes in the community. So that's going to be whether it's information that's been gathered, or whether that is at a time when we are proposing a service change. So what do we do? What are our actions when we do have a major service change or a service change proposed? The number one thing is we are going to avoid, minimize, or mitigate any disparate impact or disproportionate burden while we're planning these routes. So if we're looking to plan a route and we're moving things, we're going to go ahead and start looking at those maps to understand how the community is going to be impacted those. So when we found that something does meet the standards for disparate impact or disproportionate burden, we are going to go ahead and revise and reevaluate how could we change or how can we look at this differently for changing our service, or also in the case of fares. So there are cases if we've looked at both of these and there is a case that shows that we should proceed with a major service change, it's going to be under these circumstances. So there's substantial legitimate justification for making that change, or there are no alternatives available that would have a less disparate impact, but it would still accomplish the legitimate major service change. So as part of Title VI, we also have our Limited English Proficiency, or LEP plan. And this just ensures our commitment that these individuals are able to fully participate and have meaningful access to our fixed route service. So someone who is considered as an LEP person is someone whom English is not their primary language and who have a limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English. The threshold for our language assistance measured is governed by the Department of Justice Safe Harbor provision. So it's going to tell us that we need to translate any vital documents for an LEP language group, so a group of individuals that speak that language, that consists of 1,000 persons that may encounter our service. So essentially, here are some of the language assistance measures that we're currently providing and are in the document that we will provide to the community to ensure that they have meaningful access. So we have digital signage at the Transit Center in English and Spanish. We do have telephone-based interpretation services available. There are notification of translation services posted at the Transit Center. Our vital documents are translated into Spanish and Chinese. There are in-person interpretation services available with advance notice for scheduling. And then we also have a widget on our website that's able to translate the entire website at www.lextran.com. So Title VI also helps us manage our service standards and policies to ensure efficient service to the community. So these requirements are essentially standards based on guidelines that are covered under Title VI. The three broad guidelines are a functional classification, that we will not do any loops and provide bidirectional service, and that we consider travel times. And then the service standards are sort of our performance indicators that are tracked, and those are things like vehicle loads, on-time performance, service availability, and then policies would be passenger stops, amenities, vehicle assignment, those kinds of things. So I went through that kind of fast. So just to wrap everything up, Lextran's Title VI program is our commitment to non-discriminatory transit service. We encourage public participation. We welcome any and all comments. All service changes are evaluated for disparate impact and disproportionate burden. We have a commitment to full participation and meaningful access to limited English proficiency individuals, and our service standards are evaluated to ensure efficient service to the community. So we want to make sure that if anyone would like to reach out to any of our staff to ask questions about our program plan, you're welcome to reach out to Fred Combs, our Director of Planning, Technology, and Community Relations, myself, Emily Elliott, the Community Relations Manager, or Catherine Moran, our Compliance Specialist. So at this time, we are going to open the floor for questions or comments. If anyone has one, if you could please come to the podium to be both seen and heard, and please state your name before beginning your comment.
All right, thank you, Emily. Seeing no public comment in the room, I know that we have collected some comments before the meeting started, so I think Whitney will share some of those with us.
Whitney Wigglesworth, I'm the Marketing and Communications Coordinator, and I was going to share some comments that we received. The first comment that we received was, due to my work schedule, I'm unable to attend Lextran's public meetings. How do I make a comment or ask a question?
There are several ways that the public can give comment. If you're not able to attend one of our public meetings, you can attend a board meeting, which is held on the fourth Wednesday of every month. We've got comment cards that are available at the Transit Center as well as our administrative offices, and those are translated into both Chinese and Spanish. You can comment on our social media channels, which include Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can leave feedback on our website. You can email us at info@lextran.com. We also have a dedicated voicemail for public participation, and that phone number is 859-244-0239.
So the second comment we received was, can you explain the process that Lextran uses to decide where benches and bus shelters are placed?
Yes, so amenities are placed first by looking at ridership. We want to get those amenities in places where they're more likely to be used. We do look at surrounding context, be it the built environment, whether there's sidewalk connections or accessibility concerns, or if there are social services nearby that we know that people need to access. Sometimes it's a little more difficult than others to get amenities placed. But we also, in terms of Title VI, we look at amenities in terms of demographics to make sure that we are equitably distributing amenities across the city.
So the last comment we received was, what services does Lextran provide to people who have difficulty reading or speaking English?
I'll take that one too.
Sure. So we have various language assistant measures in place. For example, we translate vital documents into Spanish and Chinese. An example of a vital document would be our Title VI plan, as well as Title VI notifications and complaint procedures, stuff like that. We also have various phone-based translation services that are available. You can request those services at the transit center. All of our customer service representatives have language assistant cards that they can help, and our drivers also carry those on board with them, and they can help you get phone-based translation services. We have notices on our buses in Spanish, English, and Chinese that give you a phone number for translation services. We have digital signage at the transit center in Spanish and English. Our website has a widget which can translate for you. And we can have interpreters upon request, usually a week in advance for something like one of these public meetings.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? All right, seeing none, I think that concludes our meeting. So I'd like to thank everyone who helped put on our meeting today, and thank everyone who's watching. Again, our public comment is open on our Title VI plan. It will close on September the 16th. Feel free to reach out to us at info@lextran.com or any of the other ways that we talked about this morning with questions or comments. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.